5th collaboration with Denzel Washington. Yeah. What's the first time you were in a room with Denzel? Can you tell me that story?
Yeah. I think I met Denzel at the Beverly Hills Hotel about training day.
Mm-hmm.
And Denzel's intense, man, I was a little nervous sitting down with Denzel about the movie.
Yes.
And we sat down, and what was great about Denzel is that we didn't talk much about the movie. We just talked about life.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about God and different things. And when we talked about the streets, and he wanted to just get a sense of me just as a man, as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were there for like 2 hours, man. Before I knew it, he was like, "Let's do it." And that was it.
So when you met Denzel, you just knew that he was only knew that he was interested in the project? Was he attached to the project?
Well, he was attached to it.
Okay.
I think he was circling it. I'm not sure he actually landed on it. And he was trying to find the right director. And Pauletta, his wife, had introduced us a while ago. And she was the one that sort of initiated it. And Ed Lamato, his agent, who passed away.
Yes.
And they said, you should sit down with this guy. I think I just done The Replacement Killers.
Yes.
And Denzel wanted to sit down. We talked. We talked about the character a little bit, the streets, the cops, the world.
Yes.
And I remember telling Denzel, some cops I know just have a badge, but they're a lot like some of the other guys I know. And we had dinner with them. We got the cops together and some of these street guys, some gang members. And me and Denzel went and had dinner together with all of them. And when we walked out of the dinner, he was like, yeah, I know this guy.
So this was after, obviously, your first meeting.
After the first meeting,
okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
whose idea was it to get together with dinner with the real-life individuals to...
I believe it was mine. Denzel knows what he knows, and I know what I know, and I know some friends that maybe you want to meet him. And he was like, let's grab some dinner. And we put some SIS guys together and some gang members together. A friend of mine named Bone from Athens Park Bloods and all that. And it's funny because they all know each other, you know what I mean? There's no secrets on the streets. And I think that's where things started to click in, that it was something different we were doing.
When did Ethan Hawke get involved in this whole thing?
Ethan got involved. I couldn't find Jake.
Right.
And at the time, the studio, they weren't as interested in Ethan because Ethan moved to New York. He wouldn't get his teeth fixed. He didn't want to be a movie star. Ethan was being Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
And I love him, man. And I saw him one night on some talk show promoting, I think, Hamlet.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying, that's Jake.
Just by watching him on TV?
I was like, that's Jake. Because he's obviously a great actor, but he also had this boyish way about him.
Yes.
That I would believe he would be a little naive in that world and also tough enough to maybe survive it. And so I got together with Ethan. Same thing with Ethan. We met in Beverly Hills at a hotel.
Yeah.
And me and Ethan were together, I don't know how many hours, and a woman came over to us and said, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I want to sit over here and hang with you. Because we were laughing and talking, and it was all about family and life, same sort of thing.
Sure.
With Denzel. And I called the studio and I said, I really want Ethan Hawke. At the time, they weren't as interested. And then me and Lorenzo Ventura, who's a good friend of mine who ran the studio at that time, he said, well, we need some other names if you want Ethan. And I said, I'm going to call Snoop and Dre. And I'm going to put Snoop in a wheelchair. And I want Dre to play a cop, complete opposite of everything they're about.
Right.
And then they were like, all right, cool.
And that's how Ethan Hawke got greenlit on Training Day.
That's how he got greenlit on Training Day, yeah, man.
Did you call Snoop and Dre, and what was your conversations with them like?
Well, I called Snoop. Snoop's that's my man. I called Snoop and I said, I want you to be in this movie. And he was like, hey, nephew, Snoop. He's, of course, And I said, but I want you to be in the wheelchair. He ain't gonna be running down the street in a wheelchair. And he was like, all right, I'm down for that. Mm-hmm. I think Dre was a little harder because I want him to be a cop. And I don't think he was excited about that at first. He was like, nah, I don't know, homie. I don't know about that one. I was like, come on, man. But I said, but you're not going to be like a normal cop. You're going to be on the other side. And he was like, all right, that makes more sense.
Okay. So you didn't have to twist his arm too much.
Not too much. He's like, yeah. He said, I'm going to throw some cornrows in. I said, but you guys aren't exactly the good guys.
And then there's another cameo in this, if to call it that, Antoine Fuqua, the director of The Equalizer 3, which we'll get to in a moment, the 5th collaboration he had with Denzel Washington. We're still talking about the first, Training Day right now.
Right.
Terry Crews was on this program. He has hit it considerably in his career, but he said he was just on the set as an extra.
Yeah.
And he wanted to come out. He was curious to watch Denzel Washington work, and you spotted him and put him in the movie.
Yeah, I love doing that. I love doing that. Yeah, I saw Terry, just a big, guy, and he's standing there, and I had all the gang members around. Terry just had a presence about him. And I was like, "You want to be in the movie?" And I think he was overwhelmed. I said, "I need you to take your shirt off and go on the roof." He gonna be flipping pigeons.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right,
I'm sure he'd have done anything you asked. I mean, at that point in time.
Somebody would have came to me and told me I'm flipping pigeons on the roof with my shirt off. I don't know, but he was like, yeah, let's do it. He got up there, man, and next thing I know, Terry Crews is everywhere.
So you do that frequently on your films where you're looking around?
I love to do that. Okay. I did it on Equalizer 3. I love to find real faces, people to just, something interesting about when they're real, when they're not actors in certain roles.
Yes.
The authenticity of who they are. It's just there, You don't have to do anything. Just put them in the right environment. And if they don't have any fear, like Terry didn't, you might find somebody that's the next Terry Crews.
Exactly.
I did it with a kid in Training Day who wound up becoming an actor, writer, director. Can't remember his name at the moment. And I put him in Southpaw. I didn't know he was the same kid. He was a little kid in Training Day in the jungle, and his life was going in a different direction. And he's one of the guys in Southpaw that was around Jake. And at the end of Southpaw, he came up to me and he had tears in his eyes. And I could tell he was from L.A. He had a certain swagger about him. And he said, Mr. Fuqua, I didn't want to say anything during the production, but he goes, I'm the kid that you and Denzel and Ethan would talk to all the time.
Yes.
In the jungle. He said, you changed my life. And he became a filmmaker, and he's an actor now.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.